Hello there, I'm Harry Hughen, and I'll be briefly outlining my senior thesis paper. So, the idea for this paper came really the briefings Mr. Andrew gave us in the lead up to the paper. He said, write about something that's important to you, write about something that means something to you. So, it really just came naturally from that. I mean, my topic is something I think is the most important question one can ever ask really at any point um, in history, and it's a topic I love to read, write, and argue about. So this really flowed naturally. I've had a blast doing research and writing it. So my question is, what is the best way to organize society in order to ensure a prosperous and just one? So to answer this question, I read many economists and political philosophers, starting with Thomas Paine and Frederic Bastiat in their works *The Rights of Man* and *The Law*, respectively, in 11th grade in Dr. Negas's political philosophy class. And then over the summer, I read *Human Action* by Ludwig von Mises. As you can see, it's very long. I did not finish it, but the parts I did, I actually thoroughly enjoyed. Would definitely recommend. Then I read *Capitalism and Freedom* by Milton Friedman, and *The Road to Serfdom* by F.A. Hayek, as well as *For a New Liberty* by Murray Rothbard, and *A Theory of Justice* by John Rawls, or just excerpts from that. Those were both read digital copies, though. I do not have the physicals with me. And I also read many articles and watched academic debates on the topics that I was discussing. And I did all this research because I needed arguments. I needed topics and data for my own argument that I was forming in this paper. And the conclusion I came to, my thesis, was to create this prosperous and just society. A society should organize the vast majority of its resources through the market. Why the free market? Because the market has a history of efficiency and success. Free market capitalism, in the give or take 250 years, has been the dominant system in the world, has resulted in the highest rise in living conditions and the greatest accumulation and creation of wealth ever, not even remotely close. A remarkable statistic that really just always blows me away. And in 1820, when most of Europe, there were still empires, mercantilism was running rampant. There's still some feudalism in there. So the poverty rate globally was around 95%. The crippling poverty rate. This is like less than $1 a day. But by 2014, I believe, that rate has fallen below 10% for the first time in history. And that phenomenal and inspiring growth can be fully attributed to free market capitalism and globalization and industrialization. Those have really brought the world from, a overall poor place. Riches were extremely scarce, so now the abundance that we have. So this embrace of liberty and markets comes at the cost of rejecting central planning, basically getting power out of the government's hands and into the people and into the market. And this is because central planning has a legacy of failure, inefficiency, and tyranny. I mean, the example I give in my paper is the Great Leap Forward under Mao Zedong in 1960s China, where due to the central planners' failures, 30 million people starved to death. And it's because of examples like that I think central planning should be reduced to as minimal as possible. So some topics and arguments I go through is the impact of globalization and how free trade has helped even the poorest countries achieve rising wealth and living standards, and that tariffs and protectionism should be rejected emphatically, as well as attacking central planning on the failures of the U.S. government, or the U.S. healthcare system, and interventions in the government that have caused the system to become so bloated, inefficient, and bureaucratic, as well as the failures of the FDA. I even talk about its response to the coronavirus and how it has really kneecapped the country's response, and how a market would have been a vast improvement. And I also tackle important questions such as automation and climate change, and argue why the free market is the solution to those big problems. So thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed, and hope to see you virtually, of course, at my defense. Peace.